All right, ready to take a deep dive into something you probably haven't thought much about.
I'm ready. What are we diving into today?
Staircase installation.
Staircase installation. Really?
Yeah, I know it doesn't sound that exciting at first, but trust me, we're on a mission to uncover all the hidden complexities of this career. It's way more interesting than it sounds.
Okay, you've piqued my interest. I'm definitely curious to hear more. What kind of sources are we looking at today?
So we've got a staircase installer career guide to start.
Okay, sounds informative.
What else?
And this is cool. We found some additional insights on RoleCatcher.
RoleCatcher, like the platform for finding job descriptions.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And they actually had some pretty in-depth stuff about the skills and qualifications for this line of work. But first, let's start with the basics.
Sounds good to me.
When you think staircase installer, what comes to mind?
Honestly, I picture someone, maybe with a tool belt, lots of hammering, maybe using a level to make sure things are straight.
Right. It seems pretty straightforward. Yeah, kind of like you measure, you cut, you nail it together, you're done.
But as our sources reveal, it's a lot more involved.
More involved how?
Well, for starters, it's not just about hammering wood, it's about precision, artistry, and solving some pretty complex problems.
Okay, so tell me more about that. Where does the problem solving come in?
Well, think about it. Every staircase is different, right? You've got different spaces, different designs, different materials.
That's true. I hadn't thought about it like that. And I suppose they have to make sure everything is safe and up to code.
Exactly. And that's something the career guide emphasizes right off the bat, the importance of adhering to building codes.
Which makes sense because if a staircase isn't built right, it could be really dangerous.
Exactly. It's not like you can just eyeball it and hope for the best.
So what kind of codes were we talking about? Give me an example.
Well, something as simple as a handrail. You might think, it's just a handrail, who cares? But there are specific codes that dictate the height and clearance to make sure it's safe for everyone to use.
Wow, I never would have thought about that. So it's like form meets function, but safety is the guiding principle.
Precisely. And experienced installers, they have a deep knowledge of all these codes from the rise and run ratios.
Rise and run.
Yeah, that's a relationship between the height of each step and the depth of the tread.
Ah, okay, I see.
And also, they have to consider things like load-bearing capacities.
Load-bearing capacities. Is that like how much weight the staircase can hold?
Exactly. Think of it like a bridge. It's not just about looking nice. It has to be structurally sound to support the weight of people, furniture, all that stuff.
Wow, that makes total sense. I never would have thought about needing to calculate that for a staircase.
And our sources say that skilled installers actually factor in things like, moving day mishaps, just in case someone drops something heavy or bumps into the railing.
So it's about anticipating those potential issues before they happen. Smart.
Yeah, it's about thinking ahead and making sure the staircase is built to last and withstand whatever life throws at it.
It's way more engineering involved than I would have imagined. I'm starting to see what you mean about it being more complex than it seems.
Right. It's not just about nailing some wood together. You have to understand how to make those connections safe and structurally sound. And this is where it gets even more interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Our sources talk about how technology is changing the game. Like now they use CAD software to design staircases.
CAD software.
Oh,
Like the kind architects use to design buildings.
Exactly. It's not just for buildings anymore. They use it for staircases too, especially for those really complex designs.
What kind of designs are we talking about?
Well, imagine trying to figure out the exact angles and measurements for a spiral staircase or one of those floating staircases that look like they're defying gravity.
Oh, wow. Yeah, those are impressive. I can definitely see how you'd need some serious software to get those right.
Right. You can't just sketch those out on a napkin. You need that level of precision.
So CAD software helps them visualize and plan every single detail.
Exactly. And it's not just about the overall design. They even use 3D printing now for some of the smaller details.
Wait, 3D printing for staircases? Seriously?
Seriously.
That's wild. What kind of things are they 3D printing?
We're talking about custom balusters, newel posts, even those intricate brackets that would be a nightmare to make by hand.
Wow, that's amazing. It seems like technology is really changing the game in this field.
It really is, and it allows them to achieve a level of detail and precision that would have been impossible just a few decades ago.
I bet. It sounds like a cool blend of traditional craftsmanship and cutting-edge technology.
Absolutely. But I have to admit, there's still a part of me that loves the idea of a staircase being completely handcrafted.
Oh, for sure. There's a certain charm and character to that.
Exactly. But on the other hand, 3D printing opens up so many possibilities for unique and complex designs. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
No doubt. It sounds like it allows for a lot more creative freedom. So we've got high-tech software, 3D printing. Are we talking robots installing these staircases next?
Not quite robots yet, although I'm sure someone's working on that.
Probably,
Dang.
right. Technology these days, it's amazing.
But speaking of robots, our sources do mention that this job is physically demanding.
Really? I guess it would be.
Yeah.
They're hauling lumber, climbing ladders, all that stuff.
Exactly. And the guide mentions working in confined spaces sometimes, which I'm picturing trying to maneuver a huge beam under a staircase.
Oh, man. Yeah, I can see how that'll be tough. You'd need some serious muscles and agility for that.
Right. It's not just a desk job.
Definitely not for everyone then. But for those who are up for the challenge, what does the career path look like? Like, how do you even get started in this field?
Well, it's not like you just pick up a hammer one day and start designing these elaborate staircases.
Right, there's got to be some sort of training involved,
Exactly. The career guide talks about apprenticeships.
like learning the trade from a master craftsman.
Yeah, exactly. Or they mention vocational training programs as well.
So getting that hands-on experience, learning from the pros. Exactly. Because even with all the technology, those core skills are still crucial.
Right, you need that strong foundation. And I imagine there's a lot of problem solving on the job too, right? Like unexpected situations you have to think on your feet for.
Oh, absolutely, all the time.
Like what, give me an example. What kind of curveballs come up in the world of staircase installation?
Well, let's say you show up at a job site, ready to install this grand staircase, and you realize the measurements are off.
Off? How does that even happen?
Could be any number of reasons. Maybe the foundation settled more than expected, or there was a change order somewhere along the line that didn't get communicated properly.
Oh no, that sounds like a disaster waiting to happen.
It can be,
Yeah.
but that's where experience and quick thinking come in.
So what do you do in that situation?
A good installer can assess the situation, maybe adjust the design on the fly, modifies some components, and find a way to make it work.
Wow, so you have to be a bit of a problem solver, a bit of an improviser.
Exactly. It's not always just following a set of instructions.
And I'd imagine teamwork plays a big role too, right? Especially when those unexpected problems come up.
Oh, absolutely. It's a team effort for sure.
Because I always kind of pictured staircase installation as a solitary craft, you know, like a lone craftsperson in their workshop, meticulously crafting each piece.
I get what you mean, but in reality, it's very collaborative.
Oh, really? Tell me more about that. Who else is involved besides the installer?
Well, for starters, you've got the architects. They're the ones designing the overall space. And obviously, the staircase needs to fit in seamlessly with their vision.
Right, so there's a lot of back and forth there, making sure everyone's on the same page.
Definitely. And then you've got the contractors who are managing the entire project. They're juggling multiple trades, timelines, budgets, the whole 9 yards.
So communication is key, making sure the staircase installation stays on schedule and doesn't hold anything else up.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the client.
Oh, right, the people who are actually going to be living with the staircase every day.
Exactly. They might have specific requests or preferences, maybe even some last-minute changes, and you have to be able to handle all that with grace and professionalism.
So you need those people skills just as much as the technical skills. It's not just about knowing how to build a staircase, it's about knowing how to work with people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you be able to explain complex technical details in a way that everyone understands, manage expectations, and build those relationships?
Fascinating. So it's a lot more than just a job. It's like a whole social ecosystem.
That's a great way to put it.
So we've talked about the importance of experience and problem solving, and now we're seeing how crucial those people skills are too. Is that what RoleCatcher means by the ideal skill profile?
Skill profile, so like a cheat sheet for what makes a successful staircase installer. What does that look like?
Well, they hit all the key points we've been discussing.
Okay, so technical chops, problem-solving skills, being a people person. What else?
They highlight adaptability as super important. Things change on a job site. You need to be able to roll with it. All right, every staircase, every client, it's all a little different. Makes sense.
Exactly. No two projects are the same, so you can't be the kind of person who needs everything spelled out for them. Got to think on your feet.
It's like that saying, the best laid plans
Often go awry.
Exactly. Sounds like staircase installers have to be ready for anything.
That's the job. And, this might seem like a very behind-the-scenes kind of career, but both the guide and RoleCatcher, they emphasize how important people skills are.
Which is interesting because you wouldn't think that would be top of the list for someone who works with, well, wood and metal mostly.
Right. But you're not just working with materials, you're working with people. Clients, architects, contractors.
You've got to be able to explain things clearly, build trust. It's like we were saying, communication is key.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And that's something that can really set you apart in this field. Building those relationships, explaining those technical details in a way anyone can understand, that's valuable.
Makes you wonder, could strong people skills actually lead to more job opportunities, even more so than, say, being a master woodworker, but terrible at explaining yourself?
I think so, especially as you progress in your career. Because we've talked about those entry points, the apprenticeships, the training.
Right.
But what about those who want to reach the top of their game?
Right. Become the staircase whisperer everyone wants to hire. What does that path look like?
It's not just about experience. It's about building that reputation, becoming known for your quality, your reliability.
And your people skills.
Exactly. It all ties together. And here's another thing to consider. Something the career guide brings up, sustainability. That's becoming a bigger and bigger factor in construction in general, right?
Absolutely. Everyone's talking about eco-friendly materials, reducing their carbon footprint, all that.
And that's impacting the world of staircase installation too. Clients are asking for sustainable wood sources, recycled materials, low VOC finishes.
So it's not just about building a beautiful, functional staircase anymore. You have to be mindful of the environmental impact as well.
Exactly. And that adds a whole new layer to the job. Staircase installers need to stay up to date on the latest sustainable practices, understand the different materials and their properties.
It's like suddenly you need a crash course in environmental science on top of everything else.
It's a lot to keep up with, for sure. But it's an exciting time to be in this field, don't you think?
I'm starting to think so. And that's something for our listeners to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of staircase installation. It's a career path full of unexpected twists and turns, much like those amazing staircases we've been discussing. From high-tech tools to sustainable practices, and the importance of strong communication and problem solving, who knew there was so much to discover? Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep exploring those hidden depths all around us. You never know what you might find.